What if I told you that the golden honey in your pantry might be laced with plain old corn syrup? Or that the fancy truffle oil drizzled on gourmet fries has never even met a real truffle? Believe it or not, many everyday foods aren't what they seem. In fact, some estimates say a third of the honey sold worldwide isn't even pure honey. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on common foods that we think are real, but are often fake or heavily adulterated. Get ready for some tasty surprises, because by the end, you might never look at your breakfast, lunch, or dinner the same way again. Let's kick things off with something almost everyone has at home: honey. Real honey is made by busy bees, gathering nectar from flowers and working tirelessly to create that sweet, golden treat. But here's the sticky truth: a lot of what we find on store shelves is far from pure. Some suppliers dilute honey with cheap sweeteners, like high fructose corn syrup or rice syrup. This practice, often called honey laundering, isn't dangerous to your health, but it does hurt honest beekeepers and the bees themselves. If your honey is suspiciously cheap or never seems to crystallize, you might just be spreading more syrup than bee magic on your toast. Now that we've added some sweetness to our morning, let's see what happens when we pour syrup on our pancakes. Maple syrup. There's nothing like warm pancakes soaked in maple syrup. Or is it really maple syrup? True maple syrup comes from boiling down sap collected from maple trees, a process so demanding that it takes about 40 gallons of sap to make just 1 gallon of syrup. But most bottles labeled pancake syrup don't contain any real maple at all. Instead, they're filled with corn syrup, artificial maple flavor, and caramel color. The ingredient list gives it away every time. If corn syrup is listed first and maple is only mentioned in the flavor, you've got yourself a maple-flavored imposter. Real maple syrup is usually proud to say so on the label. And yes, the price tag is a little higher. After something sweet for breakfast, let's move to the world of gourmet foods and see what's really behind that luxurious truffle oil. Truffle oil. If you've ever tasted truffle oil, you know it has a powerful aroma that turns ordinary fries or pasta into something gourmet. But here's the secret: most truffle oil never even saw a real truffle. Instead, manufacturers use olive oil or grapeseed oil, infused with a synthetic compound called 2,4-dithiapentane. This lab-made chemical mimics the scent of truffles. Surprisingly, it's in the same family as the stuff found in skunk spray. The real thing is subtle and fleeting, but truffle oil delivers a one-note punch. So next time you get a truffle oil dish, remember, it's more of a science project than a forest delicacy. From gourmet dinners, let's jump to the comforting aroma of baked goods and explore what's actually in most vanilla flavorings. Vanilla extract. Raise your hand if you love vanilla. Real vanilla extract is made by soaking vanilla beans in alcohol and water, and it's one of the most complex and beloved flavors in the world. But pure vanilla is expensive, and most of what we taste is actually synthetic vanillin, which can be made from wood pulp or even petroleum. While it delivers that familiar vanilla scent, it misses out on the hundreds of flavor notes found in the real bean. If your bottle says imitation vanilla, you're enjoying a clever copy, not the genuine article. Speaking of staples, let's turn to something many of us use every day in the kitchen: olive oil. Olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is often called liquid gold, and for good reason. It's meant to be just cold-pressed olive juice, rich in flavor and health benefits. But olive oil is also one of the most commonly adulterated foods in the world. Many bottles are mixed with cheaper oils like soybean or sunflower oil, sometimes with added color to look authentic. That extra virgin bargain might not be as pure as you think. For the real stuff, look for labels with certifications like PDO or estate bottled, and expect a peppery, complex taste. Now, let's spice things up a bit and talk about one of the world's most luxurious and misunderstood spices: saffron. Saffron is known as red gold, with each delicate thread picked by hand from the crocus flower. It's so precious that it's often targeted by scammers. To increase profits, some mix in dyed corn silk, safflower petals, or even shredded paper to bulk it out. Real saffron threads have a trumpet shape and release their color slowly in water. If your saffron instantly dyes the water or seems too cheap to be true, you're probably looking at an imposter. When it comes to saffron, you really do get what you pay for. Next, let's reach for a classic spice found in most kitchens. Cinnamon. Cinnamon. Here's a fun fact. Most ground cinnamon in supermarkets is actually cassia, a close relative of true Ceylon cinnamon. Cassia is stronger, spicier, and much cheaper, but it also contains more coumarin, a compound that can be toxic in large amounts. Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon, is milder and has delicate, papery layers. If you want the real cinnamony experience, look for Ceylon on the label. With the spices explored, it's time for something that helps many of us wake up in the morning. Coffee. Coffee. For many, coffee is the essential start to the day. But did you know that ground coffee is one of the most commonly adulterated foods? It's often mixed with chicory, roasted grains, or even twigs and corn to bulk it out. In history, fraudsters added everything from burnt sugar to acorns, even dried liver. The best way to avoid being duped is to buy whole beans and grind them yourself. Not only will you get fresher flavor, but you'll also know exactly what's going into your cup. Ready to switch gears to something from the sea? Let's dive into the world of imitation seafood. Imitation crab surimi. If you enjoy sushi or seafood salad, you've probably had imitation crab, also known as surimi. Despite its name, there's usually no crab in it at all. Surimi is a processed fish paste, most often made from white fish like pollock, that's flavored, colored, and shaped to look and taste like crab meat. It's sometimes called the hot dog of the sea. While it's tasty in its own right, it's definitely not real crab, so don't pay crab prices unless you see the real thing on the label. And since we're talking about luxurious foods, let's take a closer look at caviar. Fake caviar. Caviar is one of the ultimate luxury foods, but it's also a magnet for imitation. True caviar comes from sturgeon eggs, but many cheaper products use other fish eggs, or skip fish entirely. Some brands now offer vegan caviar, made from seaweed gel using sodium alginate and calcium to create beads that look and pop like real fish roe. While honest labeling isn't a problem, the real trick comes when cheaper substitutes are passed off as high-end sturgeon caviar. Real caviar has a delicate pop and a rich, buttery taste that's hard to fake. Finally, let's finish off with something many of us love to drizzle over salads or dip our bread in: balsamic vinegar. Traditional balsamic vinegar is made in Modena, Italy, and is aged for at least 12 years in a series of wooden barrels. This long process creates a thick, sweet, and tangy elixir. But most bottles on store shelves are just ordinary wine vinegar mixed with grape must concentrate, caramel color, and thickeners to mimic the real thing. The genuine article will proudly say Aceto Balsamico Tradizionale and carry a special seal. Anything else is likely just a tasty shortcut. So what have we learned after this journey through kitchen cupboards and restaurant menus? From sticky honey to glossy balsamic vinegar, we've uncovered how food fraud sneaks into our pantries and our plates. Now you know which splurges are truly worth it and which knockoffs are just clever shortcuts. Stay curious, stay savvy, and happy eating, whatever it is you're actually eating.